here is take the chassis off. There's only 4 screws holding the chassis, so not too bad, but sometimes they're a little hard to get to. So I've just speeded up the video here as I take these off. And just about have it off. Some of them get a little tricky. They're real little, if you can see over on the right here of the video, they're real tiny. So, yeah, that first one was a little bit of a problem to get off. So there's the chassis now, off the body. And what I'm pointing at here are the hinges for the doors. And I do not think in this build it's necessary to take the doors off. Really no reason. As you can see, they just open up. If I took them off, I'd have to mask off more than if I leave them on. So I'm just going to leave them on and mask on the inside, make sure no paint gets on the inside. Then there's the additional wheels, but I like these wide wheels that are on the model already, and I think I'm going to leave those on there. The other wheels are nice, but for what I'm doing, I don't need anything nice. So I'll just leave the wheels that are on there already on. And I can paint the wheels to make them look rusty. And then I usually take my screws, so I don't lose them, and I put them in a 35mm film can, which you don't see much of anymore. I have maybe 2 of those that I've been saving for years for stuff like this. And then I'm going to leave this metal looking runner here on the back of the vehicle. I'll put tape over that, and I won't paint that right now. I was trying to figure a way to paint or cover up the headlights, but I don't really see any way of doing it. Tried this little dot, and it won't even stay on there. Tape doesn't seem to stay on very good either. So I think I'll just paint over them. So as you can see at this point, I've painted the truck and masked off the windows. There's the back window there being masked off. And those runners I talked about, I masked those off. So the truck is ready to detail now. And I saw on the internet that a lot of guys, believe it or not, use mustard to put on the truck in areas that they want this metal base that I put on to show through. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to try to put it along the edges and along the bottom. And of course my hand is in the way of the video. I don't really know how to video this so you can see it. It's very difficult. But you can kind of see I'm putting it on the bottom randomly. There's a little better picture of it. Anywhere that metal would be scraped off and you could see through down to the bare metal, which is the idea of this. And I'm just going to continue to put this in various places on the truck to make it look as worn as I can. And I'm anxious to see how this actually works when we paint over the truck again. And supposedly you can wipe this off with a paper towel, and it should come right off and show the metal underneath. So we'll give that a try here in a minute. Okay, so here's the second coat, and I used a flat, actually a camouflage paint, kind of a flat green as my second coat. Now let's see if we can take off this mustard with a paper towel, like they said you could do. And I'm finding right away that the paper towel doesn't work that great. So I worked on that for a little bit with the paper towel, and yeah, that's not working. So what I finally did was just take a regular paintbrush with kind of little stiffer bristles, and I stuck it in water and then went over the mustard, and it came right off. As you can see here, that's the effect I wanted, the metal showing through. So water and a paintbrush is the best way to do it, and maybe I was supposed to wet the paper towel and just didn't know that. But anyway, this worked. So I was happy with those results. And my next step was to start the weathering process with some rust. And I bought this folk art rust at Michael's, which seems to work quite well. Here's the fenders I'm starting on here, and just dabbing it on, kind of dry brushing it on at this point, and actually kind of testing how I wanted it. And have my hand in the way so you can't see, but anyway, anywhere that the metal was showing through, I was trying to hit that with rust to show that the metal was starting to rust. And I'll speed this up a little bit for you. And as you can see here, I managed to get some rust on the tires. So I wasn't too worried about that because I wanted to use this pavement color right here to go over the tire itself anyway. So that's what I did. I just went right over that rust on the tire with this pavement color, and looks good. Here you can see I'm working on it. I'll speed this up again for you. Now comes the fun part. Start adding on these are steel blades that go on the front of the vehicle like a cow catcher, maybe a human catcher, but and we're going to hold them on with this beam. So we'll start doing some detail work on these blades and more detail work after that. Now these blades are just craft foam that I cut out, painted, and ran a couple small dowels through them to make them look like steel blades. Here I'm going to start weathering them, and we'll speed the video up for you. So I'm going to basically end the video right here. This will be the end of part 1. Part 2, I hope you'll tune in for. We'll start putting some guns and things like that on the vehicle. Should be fun. And be sure and subscribe and leave a comment. I'll see you next time.